Hello, tech enthusiasts. Welcome back to Cloud with Dave. This is my first video in 2026, and I'm excited to get going for the year. I have a number of things planned and can't wait to share all of them with you. So, this year I'm starting the series AI on AWS, and we'll be going through a number of things and just things revolving around artificial intelligence. We know that this is where the world is right now, not no more where the world is going, but where the world is. And I have a number of things I'd like to share, of course, just to make us equipped and up to date with the current trends. So, firstly, what exactly is generative AI? Just a little overview before we get practical. So, generative AI refers to a class of AI systems that can create new content, such as text, images, code, audio, or summaries, based on patterns learned from large data sets. Of course, with ChatGPT and a number of AI tools, it's no more a new thing. So you can just open chat.openai.com and start generating text. We have tools to generate images and all of that. So it's a new system, a new way of doing AI that is different from the traditional machine learning models for prediction and classification. Of course, some of us might know of regression, clustering and all of those machine learning models. So this is more of generative models to actually create content and not just to do one or two things on a data set. Generative AI is powered primarily through foundation models, and on AWS we use Amazon Bedrock. So this is the core AWS service for artificial intelligence, allowing developers to build AI-powered applications without managing infrastructure or training large models from scratch. So these are important concepts we'll be covering. This is a first video, and I actually tailored this video majorly on knowledge bases. So, what are foundation models? They are large pre-trained models trained on massive, diverse data sets and adaptable to many tasks. Such large language models have been trained using a lot of text, basically the internet, lots of Wikipedia pages, documents, a lot of files, and on and on. If you want to dive deeper, you can learn about tokens, tokenization, context window, and all of that. But this series is more practical and less theoretical, and just applying things that you might have learned or plan on learning in artificial intelligence. So that's foundation models. You have prompt and prompt engineering. A prompt is simply the input you give the model. So you open ChatGPT and you type in, I want to do this, I want to do that. So that's a prompt. And learning about prompt engineering actually helps you tailor more intelligent questions or prompts, yeah, so that you can get replies or outputs that are geared towards what you actually want and not vague responses. So basically you're kind of like engineering what you want your prompt to look like, keeping in mind or picturing how the output should be. So we also have knowledge bases, which is kind of like RAG, so Retrieval-Augmented Generation to query external data. So you have your foundation model, but you also have some data that is not part of the model, but you want to reference. So something like customer information for a business application, and then you actually have your model query this knowledge base to actually import custom information that would be part of the responses. So that's another concept. So you have agents and LLMs. Agents are LLMs that can take actions, not just generate text. So that is now being more giving the LLM more tools. Yeah. So we actually learn about tooling. So they have capabilities, so they can actually update your database, delete some items, and take actions basically. Then finally, we have guardrails and safety, which is just like control. Okay, I don't want the foundation model or this AI application I'm creating to go past this boundary. Okay, don't consider topics like this. I just want you to focus on this. If you have anything outside of this boundary, discard, that kind of thing. So What we'll be covering is not limited to these five, but these are the five I'm putting down as core, just like a guideline. So typical general architecture on AWS. So probably have your user query API gateway from probably an application, a web application, and through API gateway, you're able to interact with your Bedrock, your foundation model, probably through a Lambda function, and then the Lambda function could sit between the API gateway and your Bedrock model, and then you can have your knowledge base, and then you also have your agents. So you can design the agents from Bedrock. I would see that in one of the future videos. Then you can set up your guardrails from Bedrock, and then you get the responses back to the users via the same application they are interacting with. So you have your model, you have the data, you have the tools, you have the control, and you're able to put together your generative AI application. So this is just a quick theoretical guide that would help us moving forward. So this is the AWS console. This is the Bedrock interface. And just to go through it quickly, you have an overview, you have a model catalog, and as you can see here, Amazon Bedrock supports over 100 foundation models from industry leading providers and emerging leaders. So this is a model spotlight, and we can go through this. So let's just go through the model catalog. In the model catalog page, you can see lot of models from different let me call them vendors now. So you have a model collection. If we streamline with to just AWS, which are the like which is the provider. You have your Nova 2 Lite and all of this Nova multimodal, and you can just let me open one of this Nova Pro. You can open it in Playground, query, and all of that. So you have categories and all of this. You have the latest version, you have the pricing, usage. You can actually go through this, and you can open it in Playground, which will take you to this text, so chat slash text playground, and then you can chat with this model. Just type in your prompt, and you get the response just the way you would get in ChatGPT. And then there are other functionalities. So we've gone through model catalog, back to model catalog. You have all the models here. You have you can streamline or filter by modality. So you have audio models, embedding image, and all of that. Marketplace deployment. If you actually have models in your marketplace that you want to integrate with your account and all of that. So if you do something like fine tuning, which we might see later on, you have to set up provisioned throughput and actually have a separate inference pattern for that. So you can come and do your tuning to actually tailor a custom model from a foundation model which you would configure with your own data. So building, we have agents, flows, knowledge bases, and all of that. As I said earlier on, we'll be touching more of knowledge bases and building on that in future videos. So let me come straight to knowledge bases, and I would like to let me open S3 also because I'll be putting some data there. I'll open that in a new tab. So you can actually just chat with your document straight on with you select your model, put in the document, and query to see what is in it. But so I won't keep the video too long. I'll just come straight to creating the knowledge base, and I'll click on create. So I'm creating the knowledge base with the vector store. If you have structured data, you can use a structured data store. There's also Kendra Gen AI Index, and if you are familiar with AWS, Kendra is for documents, but we'll just be using vector store. And before we go into it, I'll show you some files I'll be using. So I have some files Let me open this company info. So this is Solar Flow Technologies is a um, company I came up with just for the purpose of this demonstration. And this is what we'll be using for this project. So Solar Flow Technologies is a Nigerian renewable energy and logistics company founded in this where businesses reduce costs through solar powered and efficient delivery services. So the headquarters is in Lekki. We have some random details, you have pricing, and all of that. So this is a general overview. I also have frequently asked questions like how much can I save with solar? What happens when there's no sun? And all of that, and all of that. We have locations.csv. So it's a simple one. If with an enterprise, you have more locations, of course, and yeah, so this is the location. They have Lagos and Abuja. Type, you have the address and some other details. We also have pricing document just for breakdown to have a breakdown of some of the services, the categories, and all of that. So I'll upload all of these documents so in case you want to go through it on your own. So let me come back to the console and say Solar Flow Technologies Knowledge Base. So we can enter a description. So we'll be creating and using a new service role. And the data source type is S3. So let me quickly come and create a bucket. But before then, you also have some other data sources. For instance, if you have a website for the enterprise you're working with, you can crawl the website. You have custom, you have SharePoint, Salesforce, Confluence, and all of that. So, of course, I believe there will be an extension, maybe more data sources would be integrated for it as time goes on. But for now, we're working with S3. So I'm going to come to S3. I'm going to create a bucket. It's a general purpose bucket, and I'm just going to call it Solar Flow Technologies. And of course, if you're familiar with S3, you know that you can't have capital letters. Solar Flow Technologies. And I'm just going to put random numbers at the end. So I'm going to copy this because I'll be needing this. And I'll leave block public access. I'm just going to create the bucket. So I'm going to come into the bucket. I'm going to upload the files I've created for Solar Flow Technologies. Add files. I'm going to select the files, click on open, and then upload. The files have been uploaded successfully. I'm just going to close this and you can see them here. I'm going to come back to knowledge base and I've selected S3. You can deliver logs to S3, CloudWatch logs or firehose, but I'm just going to skip that. Or okay, let me set to CloudWatch logs. So I think this should automatically create these logs for us. Let me see if there are additional settings. I'm just going to leave this as the way it is. Let me say JSON and click on next. So this is the data source. I'm just going to leave it as, let me say S3 knowledge base as the name of the data source. So it's this account. You can browse the S3 and find the bucket. So this is the bucket. Choose. So the parsing strategy, we have different ones, and if you can go through this, but We have the basic one, default parser, best for parsing text, so it can go through text document like Word, Excel, HTML, CSV, and all of that. So I think this is one we'll be using. Although I think we have, since we don't have PDF, yeah, that's we can easily just use this one. So if it's for more advanced kind of data or like multimodal context for images, videos, and all, you can use this one or this one. So the output for this one has video summarization and all of that. So we're just going to do something basic and default chunking also. Transformation function, we're not doing any transformations. If you have a lambda function to do some transformations before the integration, you can put that in. So just leave this as default and click on next. So you need an embeddings model to convert your data into an embedding. Um, and an embedding is kind of it's just is a representation of your data. Of course, if you have a computing background, you know that data stored is not really like the way it is. It's kind of like in zeros and ones. And embeddings, you have a vector field with numbers basically to represent your data. So we're going to select an embeddings model. I'm just going to go with no, we're not using the multimodal embeddings, just text. So I'll just use this text embeddings into V2 and apply this. It's for text retrieval only, which is good for what we want. I'm just going to leave this the way it is. So quick create a new vector store is what we'll be using because we don't have a vector store at the moment. Or if you have an existing vector store, or you want to use something outside AWS, for instance, Pinecone, I think Pinecone has a free tier, but we'll be creating a vector store and we'll be using OpenSearch serverless. These are other vector stores you can use like S3 vectors, which is new. There's Aurora PostgreSQL serverless and Neptune for graph database. But so be using OpenSearch and can go through the additional configurations. So this is optional to enable redundancy, won't be doing that. And customer managed KMS keys won't be doing that also. So I'll proceed, review and create. I think we are good. So as you can see, OpenSearch serverless vector database is ready. Knowledge base is also ready, created successfully. So sync one or more data sources to index your content for searching. And it says syncing can take from a few minutes to a few hours, which is one of the reasons why I try to keep the data sources I'm using or the data files I'm using as simple as possible. So I'm just going to come here. Okay, I think sync is already going on. So I can't stop sync right now. I'm trying to do this sync. So as it says, syncing data source, it could take several minutes to hours to sync depending on the size of your data. So it says sync complete. And close this. So I have a sync history here. I'm going to come back here. Let's try and test this knowledge base. Retrieval and response generation, data sources and model. You can have retrieval only from the data source, but we'll be doing retrieval and response generation. I'm just going to select a model I'm going to use. So let's go with Nova Light. So here we can configure the guardrails, can configure some other things, generation prompt, and other things. But let me just come here and say, um, what can you tell me about solar flow technologies? So now we have a quick summary. Solar Flow Technologies is a Nigerian renewable energy and logistics company founded in 2020, and you can actually reference the data source. They help businesses reduce cost through solar power and efficient delivery services, as we saw also. The headquarters is located in this place. They offer solar power solutions for businesses with pricing starting at 2.8 million. So it's able to combine data from different sources. So I think it got that pricing from the pricing.csv file for a 5 kilowatt hour system. They also provide business delivery service across Lagos and Abuja. So we've gotten a simple overview about solar flow technologies, and if we open details, you can see some information about the processing that went in delivering this result. So it actually got more information, but since we don't want so much, it just streamlined it for us here. So we have a solar flow technologies accepts the following payment methods: bank transfer, debit, credit cards, POS, mobile money, like OMPay, OPay, PalmPay, and cash for deliveries. Okay, so let me give a customer scenario question, something like I have been using generators for 10 years to run my business. How can solar flow come in for power generation, and what benefits would it have in running my business? Help with calculations that would show how I can save costs on the long run. To be as detailed as possible. So if you have to go through this, the solar flow technologies can help you transition from using generators, offering several business values for your business. So you have cost savings, initial investment, and all of this, electrical savings, return on investment, long-term savings, monthly savings. So you assume there's an assumption here, annual savings per year, return on investment. But I think to actually know how much you'll be saving, you probably have to like put in the amount you spend on electricity and power generation, and the amount of kilowatts generated. I'm not really technical in electrical systems and all of that, but yeah, basically we've been able to create a knowledge base for a particular business, and all using the console. Moving on, we'll also be looking at how we can integrate it with front end systems, like you have your front end interface for solar flow technologies, and how we can integrate the chatbot with the interface so users can actually have their queries delivered from that interface. So that's it for knowledge bases. And moving on, we'll also be doing some other integrations with um, guardrails and other components. So that's it for the first part in this generative AI series. And we'll be diving into other concepts as I've mentioned, guardrails, agents. I'll be integrating all of this in application deployment or development context and real life scenarios, which is one of the things I'm focusing on in this channel. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned one or two things. Uh, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.